I'm sure you all wish you had a small space, a room, a boat, or a cellar where no one could find you and you could escape your issues. Perhaps you picture a man cave with a bar, sports flags, and cable television. Perhaps a massage chair with a humidifier and some scented candles is more your style. Whatever floats your boat, the prospect of escaping from the world is enticing. A place where our problems cannot follow. Throughout history, many leaders and people have had to hide, either from the forces of evil or from the stretched arm of justice itself, raising every rock to discover where they could be hidden. These people would often spend a significant period of time in their hideouts, hoping to taste freedom one day. Here are some of the most famous hiders and the unusual places they choose to hide. Fidel Castro, Sierra Maestra Hideout. Fidel Castro was an unpopular figure in the United States, nearly leading the country into a nuclear war that would have shook the world's foundations. However, before he became the West Bane, he had to lead a revolution. Being at odds with the current government puts a person in a vulnerable situation. At war with Fulgencio Batista's army, Castro and his second-in-command, Che Guevara, were compelled to launch the revolution from a secret site deep in the Cuban jungle encircled by the Sierra Maestra mountains. They spent almost a year planning their guerrilla war while going through the bush, staying under the radar. They finally settled in La Plata. La Plata, Fidel Castro's ultimate refuge, was so cleverly camouflaged that Batista and his forces never discovered it. Today, the Sierra Maestra, with its beautiful forests, is a popular trekking destination. Saddam Hussein, Spider Hole. When George Bush's America invaded Iraq in 2003, citing the perceived threat of weapons of mass destruction to the free world, Saddam Hussein became a moving target on the FBI's most wanted list. However, Hussein was not to be found. Hussein hid from the police on a farm south of Tikrit, with the help of some followers in a bunker-style shelter built into the ground. The hole, known as the Spider Hole around the world, was no bigger than an enlarged grave, with enough room to sleep and sit up but nothing else. They also discovered a fridge stocked with hotdogs and cokes, as well as $750,000 and $100 bills stowed in shoeboxes. Overall, Hussein was on the run for 250 days, disappearing down the Spider Hole whenever suspicion arose. In the end, his luck ran out and someone turned him in, resulting in his capture. John Wilkes Booth, Thickets and the Barn. When John Wilkes Booth assassinated Abraham Lincoln at point-blank range from his balcony seat at Ford's Theater, a horde of enraged men pursued him, hoping to put his head on a pike. To make matters worse for Booth, he had a large bounty on his head. Booth made a magnificent escape from the theater on horseback, where he met up with his co-conspirator David Harold. They gathered their previously stored provisions, got treatment for Booth's damaged leg, and began their journey from justice. They lurked in the pine thickets for days, hoping to cross the Potomac River into Virginia. That was until they learned that a focused search had begun in the Maryland area where they were hiding. They were hunted as wild animals until justice was served. Booth was caught hiding in a tobacco barn and refused to submit. He was eventually shot and pulled from the barn with force. Osama Bin Laden, the compound. The face of terrorism, the feared and adored mastermind of the 9/11's terror attacks on the United States, was a one-of-a-kind type of evil, without a doubt, but he did know how to conceal. With the entire U.S. Army combing deserts and lifting rocks for clues, Osama bin Laden evaded being killed, fired at, or even observed by U.S. forces for nearly a decade as his fellow al-Qaeda members waged war against the West. Hiding for so long while millions are spent on your pursuit is quite an accomplishment. Finally, bin Laden was tracked down to a complex in Abbottabad, Pakistan known as the Waziristan Haveli, meaning mansion, where he was thought to have lived since 2006. He lived peacefully for more than 5 years until being killed in an American military operation.